What up, people? Welcome to season 4 premiere of the Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph podcast, featuring the one and only Mike Steph, best in the world the way he does. But we're going to get right into it because I'm talking about NFL free agency, it's specifically the New York Jets and the New York Giants and their offseason moves. And the number one offseason move for me, being a New York Jets fan, of course, would be the return of Geno Smith, the return of the prodigal son. No, not really. The return of they wrote me off, but I ain't right back. The return, the reunion of Geno Smith and the New York Jets. The New York Jets are turning back time. If I could turn back the hands of time and I could find a way. The Jets are turning back to a familiar face. On the second day of free agency, the Jets traded, not signed, but traded for Geno Smith, who returns to the team that originally drafted him, following a massive career resurgence in Seattle with the Seahawks, and a forgettable year last year in the city in the desert, Las Vegas, with the Raiders. After leaving the Jets in 2016, Geno Smith spent years as a journeyman backup before a massive career resurgence with the Seattle Seahawks, where he earned two, not one, but two Pro Bowl selections and copped the 2022 NFL Comeback Player of the Year award. Now, while last year's season with the Raiders was difficult, difficult ain't the word. He threw a league high 17 interceptions. But look at the compensation that we gave up for Geno Smith. And it's a no-brainer. We sent a 6th-round draft pick in this upcoming draft, the 2026 draft, to the Raiders, and we received not only Geno Smith, but we received a 7th-round draft pick, and we only have to pick up, about $3 million of his contract? It's a no-brainer. Now, there's been a lot of controversy around Geno Smith in his brief stint in New York. Geno Smith is 35 years old, and everybody knows his first stint with the team did not work out the way it was planned. He had a rough rookie year in which he threw for 12 touchdowns and 21 interceptions. Now, Smith came back in the 2014 season, but really didn't show that much improvement, even though he did cut his interceptions down. He threw for 13 touchdowns, but also threw 13 interceptions. And at times throughout that season, he was benched in favor of Michael Vick. Yeah, people forget Michael Vick was actually a New York Jet multiple times during games in that 2014 season. Now, here's where the controversy starts and ends for Geno Smith in his Jet career. In 2015, under the stewardship of Todd Bowles, this was supposed to be a resurgence for Smith. He was supposed to be firmly entrenched as the starter. We went on a free agent spree. Mike McCagnon was the GM at the time. We went on a free agent spree, and we got Decker, right receiver. Then we traded for Brandon Marshall. We had Chris Ivory. We just went on a, when I say we loaded up, because we wanted to make sure that Todd Bowles had every asset available to it at his disposal to make sure that Geno Smith was, surrounded by greatness. Guess what? In the offseason, I think maybe a couple weeks before the regular season started, he was punched in the face and his jaw was broken by IK Incapali, whatever the hell his name is, because he ain't even in the league anymore. But that caused Geno Smith not only to miss multiple games, but actually cost him his starting role. Now, Ryan Fitzpatrick took over for Geno Smith that year and led us to a 10-6 record, but ultimately did not lead us to the playoffs. And then there was a contract impasse, and we brought Ryan Fitzpatrick back, and he turned into the pumpkin that everybody knew he was going to be. We brought Geno Smith in, and he only played 3 more games with the team due to injuries and ultimately ineffectiveness. Do you know that Geno Smith also played with the New York Giants? Matter of fact, he signed with the Giants the following season, 2017. But he only lasted 1 year with the Giants. But do you know why his name will go down in history? Geno Smith was the impetus, and this is not to blame anything on Geno himself, because he had nothing to do with this. This was Coach McAdoo, second season with the Giants after leading them to the playoffs the season prior. And Eli Manning was struggling. Matter of fact, the whole team was struggling. And McAdoo felt that, you know what, maybe the best years of Eli has gone by. I need a spark. So he benched Eli in favor of Geno Smith against, coincidentally, at the time, the Los Angeles Raiders. Yeah, go figure. So that broke a streak of 200 some odd games that Eli Manning has started consecutively. Geno, I believe, actually won that game. But guess what? That wasn't good enough for the Giants. That wasn't good enough for the Giant fan base. That decision ultimately led to McAdoo getting fired, GM Jerry Reese getting fired, and Geno having his ass firmly planted on the bench for the rest of that year. And from there, he went over to the San Diego Chargers. Well, Los Angeles Chargers now. But he did not see that much playing time. He was mostly, matter of fact, firmly entrenched in a backup role. Now, it appeared that Geno Smith's career was going to come to an end. It's going to come to an end. But a strong performance down the stretch in 2021 with the Seattle Seahawks got Geno back on track. He started all 17 games for the Seahawks in 2022 and excelled despite low expectations. Geno helped lead the team to a 9-8 record and made the first of his 2 straight Pro Bowl appearances. Now, with all that backstory being given for Geno Smith since he's left the New York Jets over 10 years ago. Now, mind you, if you really want to do the due diligence, you really want to go down the history, Geno Smith was drafted in the 2nd round. He went to college at West Virginia. He was supposed to be a 1st-round draft pick. He dropped to the 2nd round. We picked him up in the 2nd round. We still had the shell of Mark Sanchez, who was a broken quarterback after the Tim Tebow era, right? And tell you the truth, Geno was not supposed to be the starter that year. But because Rex Ryan wanted to win the Snoopy Bowl, he inexplicably put Mark Sanchez in with 3rd to 4th string players in the 4th quarter of the Snoopy Bowl in preseason, and Mark Sanchez suffered a season-ending injury to his shoulder. And that's how Geno Smith became the starter in the rookie year of the New York Jets, in which he led them to an 8-8 record. Yes, an 8-8 record, even though he threw for 13 touchdowns against 21 interceptions. And that left a sour taste in a lot of the fan base mouth. Sanchez never played another game for the New York Jets. Now, last Wednesday on the Michael Kay show, Michael Kay had as his Wednesday's guest Mike Lupica of the New York Daily News. And do you know what Lupica said out his rotten mouth? He said that the Jets should make Geno Smith compete for the job. That the Jets can't just give him the starting job. Like he hasn't earned the right as a veteran, as a competent, not even just a competent, as an accomplished quarterback in his 13-year career in the NFL, that we can't just give him the job. Why not? Oh, it gets better. They should bring in Carson Wentz. You know, the same Carson Wentz that was chased out of Philly, the same Carson Wentz that was chased out of Indianapolis, the same Carson Wentz that's been bouncing around from team to team to team. Yeah, we should bring that guy in and have Geno compete with him. Are you out your effing mind? You see, this is what happens. This is what happens. If the roles were reversed, if Carson Wentz was the reclamation project and we brought him back in, like let's say Philly brought him back in, and the Philadelphia Eagles or the New York Jets in this situation, right? And then would anybody in Philly be clamoring to bring in Geno Smith and tell Carson Wentz he has to play for his job? He has to play for his position? No. So you see, that's how the bias be showing. Geno Smith hasn't done enough to start for a quarterbackless team. Literally, a quarterbackless team in the New York Jets. You know who our quarterbacks were last year? Justin Fields, who I will get into, because some news just dropped today. Thank goodness I waited an extra day. We had Justin Fields, we had Tyrod Taylor, and we had Brady Cook. Combined, we might have one quarterback. Yeah, but we're supposed to have Geno Smith compete for his job. Pretty much sing for his supper. Hello, my baby. Hello, my darling. Hello to my sunshine pal. Baby, my heart's on fire. That's what he's supposed to have, right? I swear. When people show you who they are, and I hate this saying, but it is true. When people show you who they are, believe them. Yes, Geno Smith was bad when he was here before. And yeah, I can't admit that we didn't help him. We, as in the New York Jets organization, did not help him whatsoever. And yeah, he didn't help himself for his attitude. You know, that's the reason why he got it. Why that mother ever had to respect his jaw. And he didn't. But I guarantee you he don't got a glass jaw now for all the perseverance that he's had, for all the obstacles he's had to overcome to stay in this league. Do you know, to be in the NFL, to be a participant in the NFL, to actually be a starter in the NFL, do you know what type of things you have to go through? And he's been that for 13 years. Not a starter for 13 years, but he has continued to be in the league for 13 years. No gaps whatsoever. And this is coming from someone who has had joke after joke after joke after joke after joke against Geno Smith. Has my tune changed because he is once again part of Gang Green? Yeah. I'm not going to insult your intelligence. Listen, once they put on the green, they're part of the team. They're part of the family until they prove otherwise. He did stuff to get himself castrated from the team, and now he's back, and I'm going to make sure that we ingratiate him into the family. As simple as that. Listen, like I said, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them. And I'm fessing up to my faults. Like, yes, okay, he wasn't the greatest before, but guess what? He's better than what we have now. And I respect his grind. I respect his grind. But back to Lupica and all these pundits to big up Ryan Fitzpatrick and Carson Wentz when talking about Geno Smith is egregious. It's egregious at the bare minimum. And these people should be ashamed of themselves. Like I said, the bias is showing. In other news, in the offseason, Elijah Vera-Tucker, left tackle, guard, offensive line extraordinaire, though injury prone, decided to sign a contract with our arch nemesis, the New England Patriots. So he will not be coming back to the New York Jets. More details have come out painting a picture that the Jets were not as interested in a return as the noise out there would have seemingly indicated. Now, we have battling opinions. ESPN's Rich Cimini reported on Monday night that the Jets never showed a strong interest in bringing back Vera-Tucker. I quote, former Jets guard Elijah Vera-Tucker is signing a 3-year deal with the Patriots per reports Cimini wrote. The Patriots have intel on AVT from former Jets coaches, including Todd Downing. The Jets never showed strong interest in keeping him, mostly because of his injury history. Okay, I'll stop right there for a minute. The Patriots have intel on AVT from former Jet coaches, including Todd Downing. Okay. The same Todd Downing that was on the staff the last 2 years that could not get our passing game in order. The same Todd Downing that was subservient to Nathaniel Hackett as our offensive coordinator, even though supposedly he was calling plays, but he couldn't overrule Aaron Rodgers. That same Todd Downing, like he doesn't have an axe to grind against the New York Jets and the organization, the crew, the team, the faculty, everything. Okay. I mean, a source is a source, but sometimes I just feel like you should recognize where the source is coming from. It had been clear for a while that the Jets and Vera-Tucker was heading in different directions. Both sides had a reluctance to get a deal done because Vera-Tucker's injury issues. Duh. Like, I think he played in one full regular season once. And don't get me wrong, injuries are not his fault, but he's had a torn pec. He's had Achilles. He's had things here, things there. So it's hard to gauge somebody's value when the best ability that you have in the NFL, matter of fact, the best ability you have in all sports is availability. Yeah, I said it. He was looking now. Both sides, like I said, was reluctant in getting a deal done. Now, Brian Costello of the New York Post stated that he was looking for a change of scenery, and the team was reluctant to commit to a player who had struggled to stay on the field. That Vera-Tucker didn't want to come back to the Jets due to what he believed was just bad luck, bad experiences, he just needed a change of scenery. And to a point, I can't knock it. I can't knock it. Like, he is well within his rights to say, you know what? We wasn't winning. I done cracked up my body, and I'm going elsewhere. But the Patriots, really, really, dude. Like, there's nobody else you could have went to. Vera-Tucker did end up getting a pretty large contract, though, despite his injury. ESPN's Adam Schefter reported that Vera-Tucker had a 3-year deal. Matter of fact, got a 3-year deal from the Patriots worth $42 million with a chance to get up to $48 million. So $16 million a year from the Patriots. Okay. Hope that works out for you. Not for Vera-Tucker. No shade to him. Get your money. Hopefully you stay healthy. For the Patriots, I wish nothing but the worst on you. Yes, I said it. Matter of fact, in the great words of someone housing, you've been cursed. Now, for the rest of the Jets offseason moves, I'll go down the list. Last Monday, the team traded for Miami Dolphins safety Minkah Fitzpatrick and signed linebacker Demario Davis, who actually, do you know this is Demario Davis' third stint with the New York Jets? We originally drafted him. And it's funny because I really wish I had clips. But I remember, I could swear I remember Bart Scott, and this is one of my dudes. Like I really love everything Bart Scott does on media, football breakdown, the whole nine. Like, so there's no shade toward him. But I could swear I remember when we got rid of, or when we allowed Demario Davis to go the first time, that one of the knocks on him was for someone with a lack of experience. At the time, he was trying to portray himself as the team leader or one of the leaders of the team, and he just hadn't had enough under his belt. Now, coincidentally, all these years later, guess who we bring in to try to install some culture and to be one of the leaders of the team? Demario Davis. You can't make this up. Another acquisition was defensive tackle David Aminata, defensive end Kingsley Enagbare, or Enagbare, whatever the hell his name is, defensive end Joseph Asai, and safety Dane Belton. Now, going back to Demario Davis, he was drafted. Matter of fact, he was drafted a year before Geno Smith. We used the 77th pick overall in 2012 on Davis, and then he signed with the Cleveland Browns 4 years later. Cleveland traded his ass back to us the next year in 2017, and then he left again, this time on his own accord. Well, actually on his own accord again, to the Saints. So in reality, he's been with us 3 times, and this is the first time he willingly came to us. Because we drafted him in 2012, and he got traded back to us after he left willingly in 2017. 37 years old. But he's still playing at a high level, and he is one of Aaron Glenn's disciples from his time in New Orleans, where he's been at the last 8 years. So with Aaron Glenn actually calling the plays and calling the defense this year, you would think that he would want people that either he's played with, that he's coached, or know that fits in the exact system that he is going to be running. And it's a shrewd move. I will say that. Continuing in the offseason moves, the Jets landed a new defensive back, Nahshon Wright, from the Chicago Bears on a 1-year, $5.5 million contract. Wright is only 27 years old, but he appeared in all 17 games with the Bears while starting 16 of those 17 games last year. He was also selected to his first Pro Bowl, recording 80 total tackles, 11 passes defended, 2 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries, and 5 interceptions. You know what number brings up? You know what number just stands out? The number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. He had more interceptions by himself than the New York Jets had of all season. Actually, if he would have just had one interception, he would have had more interceptions than we had all season. So he has 5 times the amount of interceptions that we recorded as a team last season. Can't make this up. Can't make this up. Now, last but not least, when it comes to these off-season moves, this Monday, matter of fact, yesterday, by the time y'all listening and watching this, the Justin Fields era has reached its end in New York. As the Jets traded the veteran quarterback to none other than the Kansas City Chiefs. ESPN's Adam Schefter reported. The Chiefs reportedly sent the Jets a 2027 sixth-round draft pick for Fields. Fields was 1 year into his 2-year, $40 million contract that he signed last offseason. The Jets reportedly will pay $7 million of the $10 million he was owed for this upcoming season. According to the Athletic's Zach Rosenblatt, Fields would have incurred a $22 million dead salary cap hit, and would have saved the Jets only $1 million against the cap if he was released. So we got a 6th-round draft pick, and we saved some money. Now, Fields is expected to be the backup for Patty Mahomes out in Kansas City, who's recovering from a season-ending torn ACL injury. Will he start the season? I don't know. It makes you wonder. But Travis Kelce did agree to come back, so I really believe that if he doesn't start, I'm talking about Patrick Mahomes, if he doesn't start the regular season, he will be back in short order, maybe week 2 or 3. I'm not hearing anything, but that's my belief, because if there was anything prolonged, Travis Kelce ain't coming to Kansas City just to play without Patrick Mahomes when he got Taylor Swift. I don't know. Maybe I'm reaching, but whatever. Now, Fields will also replace Gardner Minshew, who signed with the Arizona Cardinals this offseason. Now, without Fields, the Jets will move forward with Geno Smith, Brady Cook, who I don't believe is going to be on the roster when we get to training camp, and Bailey Zappi. You know, remember a dude that used to play for the Patriots back in the day? And he was somewhat decent. He could be our third. So we're probably going to be looking for a veteran backup. Tyrod Taylor is currently a free agent. Remember, he was with us for 2 years. And one thing about Tyrod Taylor, unfortunately, is he doesn't stay healthy. So I think we're going to probably try to get another option. I'm hearing Andy Dalton is a possibility. People keep on saying Carson Wentz. I really don't want him on our team. I believe he's a cancer to any locker room that he's been in. He got certain ways that I just don't think would be conducive to what we're trying to accomplish next year. Now, last season, Fields threw for 1,259 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 1 interception in 9 starts. He was also 2-7 in his 9 starts. He's only 26 years old, and he added 383 yards on the ground and 4 touchdowns. Now, I'm going to end this with the clip from 2 pundits in the media who I actually respect, even though I disagree with them from time to time. But 2 pundits in the media, when talking about Geno Smith, and I will give my response to said comments.
Dominique Foxworth, did you ever think that you would see a time where Geno Smith and the New York Jets would be reunited?
It had to be a last resort, man. Like, if I was Geno, I would do all things possible to avoid giving people the opportunity to revisit that story, man. Like
or
that's
any of it. And
Yeah.
okay, I think it's very difficult for me to judge Geno on what happened last year with the Raiders because it was such a disaster what was going on with that team, right? However, Aaron Glenn didn't appear to do a much better job last year than Pete Carroll did. Okay. He also has done a terrible job of dealing with the media. Like, I don't think Aaron Glenn is being extended, but so much courtesy this year. And black head coach bringing in the black quarterback that the fans hated. Whether they were being fair or not is not the point. This seems like a situation that is not, it doesn't seem conducive to success for anybody involved, but I'm also not sure that there was going to be a better quarterback that the Jets could get.
That's the thing. Is like I'm not sure how I would classify Jets fans like on the spectrum of like informed fans or not, or educated fans, and not like traditional education, just like how much they know about the football world. And because I think if they are welcoming Geno Smith.
Yes.
Like I think it seems obviously that you do not have a franchise or a situation right now that is advantageous to a starting level quarterback. And Geno Smith seems to be that. So maybe they'll be upset or not welcome him or have a short kind of fuse with him because of their history with him. But I don't know who they think they were gonna get that's better than that. Like,
before I even say my response, I got this.
If there is one thing I can't stand, it's not one, but
I said I got this.
If there is one thing I can't stand, it's not one, but two dumb bitches.
Yeah. Now, the one thing I will say in defense of Dominique Foxworth, I respect his opinion when it comes to a lot of things. But to start off your statement by saying, I don't really understand, or I'm not sure how intelligent the Jets fan base is when it comes to football matters. Like, you're talking down to the Jets. Yeah. Does our team stink? Yes, it does. Have we been without a sniff of the playoffs in 15 years, 15 seasons? Yes, we have. Do we have only one winning season in the last 15 years? Yes, we have. But if you do your due diligence, matter of fact, if you even do your lazy diligence, which is an oxymoron, I believe, but y'all get what I'm saying. Every place that you see based on Jets fandom, Jets following, Jets podcasting, Jets media, nobody's poo-pooing the move. Everybody knows what position we're in, who is available. Yeah, Geno's available. He is the best option of the people that are actually available. And it's a no-lose situation. You want to know why? This is why. If anything, the Jets fan base are probably like, darn, we might win too many games next year. And I'm not talking about playoffs. I'm not talking about Super Bowl. I'm not talking about we're going to go 10-7. But with all the cachet, all the draft cachet that we have, people were thinking, well, if we're 3-14 again, then we'll be doing in the top 5, and we have 3 draft picks, and we can try to grow up and get Arch Manning or whoever. Okay, no guarantee for Arch Manning. It's going to be great. Dante Moore was like, I will go back to college for another year before I message y'all. But you cannot expect Aaron Glenn, for all his flaws, for all his warts, you cannot expect Aaron Glenn and especially Darren Muji to go into this upcoming season saying, you know what? we're going to plan to stink again. Because then they wouldn't have a job. Now, if you put the prerequisite parts around, or you build up the prerequisite parts of the team, then maybe you don't have to depend on getting the number one draft pick for the quarterback. You will be able to get a quarterback, hopefully. But even if you got the number one pick, and let's say it's Arch Manning, he's lights out. If you don't got a line, if you don't got a running back, if you don't got receivers, you don't got a defense, you don't got all this stuff, it means nothing. And plus, as we just found out, even if you have quote unquote blue collar, blue chip players, if they do not know how to win, if they've been in a losing situation, guess what? It starts taking over their soul, their body, their mind. So you have to have some type of success. You have to have a good coach. You have to build a winning culture. But because we're the Jets, we're a laughingstock. Because we're Jets, we get Snickers. And I'm not talking about the candy bar. Because we're the Jets, we're looked at in a negative light. Like someone who is an Atlanta fan. And I'm not talking about my brother Low Fat Beats. No. Someone who's an Atlanta fan and gave up that narcotic and now reps for the Detroit Lions because they're successful. I'm supposed to take their opinion seriously? Like I said, you know how I feel? Tell them, Tech.
If there is one thing I can't stand, it's not one, but two dumb bitches.
Now, it's only right that I give equal time. Well, not really equal time, but I do talk about the New York Football Giants. Yes, because I know there's a large portion of my viewership that are Giants fans and not Jets fans. Yes, we have Smitty from the group home in Bergen Beach, who's a big Giants fan. We have the homie Money Mike, who is a Giants fan. We have the homie D Clark, who's a Giants fan. So that's just to name three. I mean, the way I said it, it's almost like I only got three fans, right? Anyway, where should I begin? Get this ish over with. The New York Giants have announced the signing of former Baltimore Ravens tight end Isaiah Likely. Yes, it's a reported 3-year deal worth $40 million, according to NFL Network's Tom Pelissero. And Isaiah Likely, the Giants added a 25-year-old tight end in his prime who flashed considerable upside in the 4 seasons in Baltimore, playing alongside Pro Bowler Mark Andrews. He will be a prime target for second-year quarterback Jackson Dart, who's coming off a promising rookie campaign. The athletic 6'4", 240-pound target likely was a frequent red zone target for Lamar Jackson, who tallied 15 touchdowns in his 4 years with the Ravens. Likely averaged 34 catches for 392 yards per season as the number 2 tight end option behind Mark Andrews. And in my case, in my opinion, he should have been the number 1 option, and I bet he wouldn't drop some passes. And they might have got to the Super Bowl if they would have made him the number 1 option, but I digress. He had his most productive year, not last year, but the year before, 2024, tallying 42 catches for 477 yards and 6 touchdowns. Isaiah Likely, to me, that is a big move. I wish we would have been able to get him with the Jets, but I understand the connection with John Harbaugh, the new head coach of the G-Men, and I totally get it. Good move, good signing by the New York Football Giants. Next, the Giants agreed to terms with another former Raven in fullback Patrick Ricard in their very busy 2 days of free agency. The move to bring in fullback Ricard was highly anticipated, especially after they signed, sealed, delivered John Harbaugh as the man patrolling the sidelines of G-Men. And the Giants delivered. He gave him a contract that makes him the highest paid fullback in the NFL. This addition is intended to enhance the running game, which I get. You have Scatterbo when he returns. You have damn, why am I blanking on the other guy name? Yeah. And now there is some thoughts that they might be targeting Jeremiah Love at the number 5 pick, which I get. You know, you got Malik Neighbors coming back off an ACL injury. You got you got your number 1 wide receiver, you got a number 1 tight end who can be a primary target. You got Scatterbo coming back. So I could see them getting Love because you got a 1-2 punch. But also Ricard in particular will help with the blocking for any designed runs that they might devise, that they probably will devise for Jackson Dart. But if you give him the more weapons you give Jackson Dart, the less dependent he needs to be on his legs. And hopefully he will remain to be available. Remember, that stability is availability. Now, another signing was free agent wide receiver Calvin Austin, who agreed to a 1-year contract with the Giants as per Adam Schefter from ESPN. Last year, he caught 31 passes for 372 yards, and he also returned 15 punts for 101 yards. Like, all right, you returned 15 punts. Okay, whoop the damn do. Like, this is the type of information I'm getting. This type of information that's emanating from MetLife on the Giants side of the ledger. It's crap. But okay. Now, when it comes to coaching, I'll say this. The coaches that they have amassed to help Dart get his game to the next level is evident. Like, look at it this way. I'm going to name the coaches in their responsibilities. You have offensive coordinator Matt Nagy. You have quarterback coach, pass game coordinator Brian Callahan, who, by the way, is offensive line connoisseur. Like, he's brilliant. You have senior offensive assistant Greg Roman, who will be heavily involved in the run game. So that goes to tell you that John Harbaugh will be perfectly at home in being the CEO of the team, of the football team, football operations, especially offensively. And that's what you brought him here for. You brought him here to give you credibility. You brought him here to attract talent, both on the field and on the sidelines. You brought him here to create stability with your organization. You have parts on defense. You have a quarterback. At least that's what you assume that you have. And we'll see how the cookie crumbles. But I will say this. If the Giants are going to improve this, they have really no excuse now. You have a coach, you have coaches, you have upgraded talent, influx of talent, and you have a division. And I'm not going to say it's a cakewalk, which it isn't. But you have the Eagles, who are in turmoil somewhat, at least offensively. Their defense is a monster, but offensively they're in turmoil. You have Dallas, who's building up their defense and their offense with the juggernaut. And you have Washington, who is licking their wounds after that miraculous season in 2024, where they've crashed down to earth in 2025, and they put their franchise quarterback in peril. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. So if this is going to be the year to make some type of hay, now's the time. Now's the time. So you see, is it equitable time? No. Because why? Because I'm a Jets fan. Look at my background. I'm a Jets fan. But I didn't have to talk about the Giants at all. And I chose to. Maybe I would decide to talk about the Giants a little bit more in depth whenever me and the Mojo King come out with Hidden Gems Football's free agent recap. Yeah, that's my out right there. Because what you think I was going to do? I was going to do as much research with the Giants as I did with the Jets. Please. Do 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 do. Ever since I left you, more love, more games, hot planes, less pain. Ha ha! Ever since I left you, more news, more fools, less views. Did I lose? I went deaf on the. Yeah. I went deaf on the. Yeah. Well, people, that brings us to the end of another edition of the Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph podcast. I'd like to thank each and every one of y'all for making me and this here podcast the one y'all choose to view and the one y'all choose to listen to. Season 4, the Season 4 premiere is in the books. I said in promos, I've said on 4AZ, I've said on I said to various other people, I wouldn't say platforms, that yes, this is going to probably be the last season of the Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph podcast. Why? Because I feel like it. I'm going to be 50 in a couple months. And this had nothing to do with age per se. But as I've said before, and I will reiterate again, when I started podcasting, I was in a different place. A way different place in my life. When I started YouTube podcasting in 2023, I was in a different place, but I was crawling out from the abyss in which I had been in. And now, at the tender age of 49, on the precipice of being 50, and with a whole bunch of responsibilities that I got to attend to, I say this to take pressure off me. Now, that's not saying that a season has to be at least just 1 year. I'm not saying this is my last year. I'm just saying this is the last season. So if this season lasts for 3 years, guess what? Y'all got 3 years more of me. See, it's all in the details. All in the details. Anyway, man, got 2 things that I need to get off my chest before I get out of here. Right? I went to get my car serviced last week, right? So, to be honest, to be transparent, this is the first time in my history of having a car and it's spanning, darn, 20 years? Yeah, 21 years. Yeah. Anyway, this in my 21 years of owning a car, right? Various cars. This is the first time that I'm actually dealing directly with a dealership because, I used First car I got pretty much got for $250 on the arm. Did some work with the fix me upper. Then I went and got a used car. Yeah, I'm dealing with the dealership, but it wasn't like one of those Nissan or Mazda or Mercedes dealership flagships or whatever. No, it was just like, used car place. We got it, right? Last time, my souped up Sentra, I got it used car sale enterprise, but I wasn't really dealing with them, right? So this is the first time I've done with a dealership. Copped it from the dealership, dealing with it, right? So first time I'm going to get service. So they have a recall on my current car. So I was like, you know what? Let me, I got the email, got the notification. Let me go and get this taken care of because this is my car that I'm probably retiring with. Right? I got 5 more years, and the people are like, oh, darn, you're going to listen. The car I bought the car with 8,000 miles on it. So it's pretty much brand new to me. So anyway, so I go there and they're like, oh, the system down. So we can't do no recall work. But is there anything else you want to get done to your car? I was like, well, I came in December. They told me it was too early. Get an oil change. I got the car in September. So yeah, it's about time to get an oil change. Get all that stuff done, fluids, inspection check, whatever. See what the current status of my car is. I said, okay, no problem. So dude comes. And I ain't gonna lie, dude rubbed me wrong from the jump. Was it his young arrogance? Possibly. Was it the fact that you was talking to me like we were around the way? Possibly. And don't get me wrong. I love the fact that, especially in 2026, people can live in their truth. People can. There's no longer this unspoken thing that you have to have a work voice and you have to have your regular voice, even though unfortunately that's the era that I grew up in, right? But regardless, I still get my point across the way I need to, and by all means. But there should be some type of professionalism. Like, dude, brother, me and you ain't the same age. Me and you ain't the same era. Don't get misconstrued by maybe what I have on. But talk to me as if I'm a customer, as a consumer. Don't talk to me as I'm a peer. Don't talk to me as if I'm your people from around the way. Right? So they call me when it's ready. It's like, the technician called and saying, yeah, you need new tires. I said, I need new tires. I said, yeah. I'm like, yo, I just got the car in September. What you mean I need new tires? Yeah, say you got a whole bunch of nails in it and it's worn down. The tires are worn down, and but this is the part that got me. He's like, what people don't understand. A lot of people don't understand this, but what people don't understand is when you buy a pre-owned car, everything doesn't have to be brand new. Tires don't have to be brand new. They just have to be good enough. So if they were good enough to pass inspection when you got it, then that's all they had to do. Such as if the transmission fluid was good enough, and you say, all right, well, this transmission fluid is good for another 3 months before it needs to flush, guess what? That's what they have to do. So I'm looking at him like, who the f are you talking to? Right? So he's like, did you check the tires? He was like, did you check them? I said, yeah, I did. No, I did what I was supposed to do. Like, trust me. Listen, I got family that work in this industry, right? So I went in this with my eyes wide open. Trust me. Yeah. He was like, okay. Matter of fact, let me go back and talk to the technician and see what they tell me. But you just told me that the technician said, "Oh, I didn't really see it with my own eyes. I'm just going based on their words." So, but you said you checked it, right? Yeah. All right. So he comes back. Oh, you know what? My bad. Yeah, that wasn't your car they was talking about. You which car? You do need 2 new tires though. because there's more worn down on your passenger side than your driver's side. So you do need, your tires are, you probably need the replacement. But the issues I was talking about before doesn't pertain to your car. Right then and there, you lost credibility with me, my man. So the way you were way you was telling me. So if I would have just took your word or wouldn't have questioned you on it, you would have had me thinking I need new tires because I got nails and stuff in my car. Blah 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 blah. I don't like when people try to take advantage of me. But especially I don't like when people are trying to beat me in the head for extra money. If there's something that I need to get done, not a problem. Fine, that's on me. I got to do it. But don't come out your face and talk about, yo, did you check it? Like, call my bluff. Did you check it? Because I didn't check it. But if you didn't check it, and this is what I'm getting, if this is what I'm telling you, then you're just going to do what you got to do, right? So I was like, matter of fact, since we at it, what else I need to get done? Because now I got an attitude. What else I need to get done? So he's going through the thing. He's like, nah. I mean, which car? You need a new cabin filter. But besides that, no, just tires and probably need, just tires. But he's not showing me anything on the screen. Now, one thing I appreciated when I bought the car was during the process, the dude I was dealing with, the closing guy, and when I was putting on the extra warranties and stuff like that, he literally would put it on the screen and tell me, boom, 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 boom. This is what we offer. This is what this is. Choices on you. So we're going over it line by line. Dude is on some like. Now they printed it out for me, but you're not giving me an informed decision. So I was about to do something impulsive and just say, matter of fact, yo, just do it now. That was like, you know what? No. You're speaking with emotion. I'm good. Yo, when I come back next week to get the recall thing done, then I'll deal with it then. Just pretty much give my. So I get up, dude was like, I think I looked at him like, and left. Don't like when people try to play me. Don't like people when I try to play me. It's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. But yeah. I'm gonna wrap this up. Please check out the brothers at Gimmick Infringement, Winchester and McDowell. They drop each and every late Sunday night, early Monday morning on the YouTube channel of the 19 Media Group and all streaming platforms wherever podcasts are available. Please check out my bro, the young OG from Chicago, Juliet, to be exact, Desmond Powell, and the mid-game pod. Yes, the mid-game. Not to be confused with Hip to the Games, but it's still a basketball podcast. Yes, please check him out on the YouTube channel of the 19 Media Group and all streaming platforms wherever podcasts are available. And, of course, check out me and the Mojo King sometime during the 12th season with Hidden Gems Football, which will drop whenever we decide to drop during the off season. But please press that like, press that subscribe, press that notification button. So whenever anybody drops, you will be the first ones to hear it. Yeah. One last thing, because this is the season premiere, and I should give out pretty much a layout of how we're going to proceed, at least in the near future. There was some talk of whether or not I was going to drop each and every other week. Nah. I'm gonna drop weekly to the best of my ability. I'm gonna drop weekly. But one thing that I will change, and it's probably for the best, is that I feel that being the fact I'm so eclectic with my topics, such as politics, sports, and specifically football, baseball, basketball, wrestling, it's kind of it's probably unfair for me to jam everything into one episode. So there'll be weeks I would try to specify my topics per episode. So like this one, I mean, it's easy. NFL football, NFL free agency, off season, so forth. NFL episode. If I talk about the Mets, guess what? I'm talking about the Mets. If I'm talking about wrestling, guess what? I'm talking about wrestling. If I'm talking about the Knicks, guess what? I'm talking about the NBA and basketball. I think that'll probably be best going forward. So, am I multifaceted? Yes. Will that perhaps bite me in the ass? Possibly. But I think that's the best thing going forward. So when you see what's on the menu, you'll know, all right, he's on his football talk. He's on this. He's on that. Instead of the smorgasbord that you're accustomed to, I think I'm going to be the gourmet chef, if you will, of specific. And plus, it'll cut down the time because, trust me, I love my 2-hour pods. And when I have a guest on, guess what? No holds barred. If I have LA, the IWA heavyweight champion, we're going to talk about wrestling, and there's no real time limit. I mean, unless it's up to him. If I have some special guests who are up my sleeve, which trust and believe, I'm going to be guest heavy, hopefully. Then you know what it is. But when I'm talking about specific topics, it'll probably be easier for you. It'll definitely be easier for me to get in and get out, or get in, rub around, get hugged, get moist. You know what? I'm about to take this in a whole different direction, so I'm going to get out of here. So I will see y'all later. I'll see y'all next week, and goodbye. Holding back the years, thinking of the fear I've had so long. When somebody hears, listen to the fear that's gone. I keep holding on. I keep holding on. I keep holding on.